Thank you for coming today, ladies and gentlemen. Please remain standing for a minute's silence to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the Srebrenica genocide. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. I'm now going to ask my chaplain, Father Philip, to give a thought of the day and prayer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I came across these words actually of the Dalai Lama, and he said, "There are only 2 days in the year that nothing can be done. One is called yesterday, and the other is called tomorrow. Today is the right day to love, believe, do, and mostly live." And so I share with you a short extract from the letter of St. Paul to the Romans. "Do not let your love be a pretense, but sincerely prefer good to evil. Love each other as much as brothers and sisters should. Have a profound respect for each other. Bless those who persecute you. Never curse them. Bless them. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Be sad with those who are in sorrow. And treat everyone with equal kindness. Never be condescending, but make real friends with the poor. And do not allow yourselves to become self-satisfied. Never repay evil with evil, but everyone see that you're interested only in the higher ideals." And so let us pray. Our nation, Almighty God, receive our prayer for the wisdom of its leaders, the integrity of its citizens, and that harmony and justice be assured. And those elected to public office, look with favour upon those who govern with authority over us in national and local government, that the assurance of peace and prosperity be our goal for all in our community and society. We pray for those who work in local, national, and international governance. May they serve and may they work for the greatest good of the greatest number of people. We ask this through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much, Father Philip, as always. We'll now move on to the apologies. Can I ask the relevant members to confirm if we have any apologies, please? Councillor Rachel Ellis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have apologies from Councillors Henry Wheeler, Councillor Linda Pearson, Councillors Catherine and Graham Pope, Councillor Michael Payne, and Councillors Viv and Ron McCrossan. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Sam Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All present and correct from the Conservative Group.
Thank you. Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Apologies from Councillor Towsey Hinton.
Thank you. And Councillor Whiting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In saying there's no apologies, can I please welcome my new colleague, Councillor Meads, to the Chamber and congratulate him on what I believe is the biggest by-election result this country has seen in the last 30 years. So we are both here.
Thank you very much. That is apologies dealt with. We'll now move on to Mayor's announcements. Thank you. You stole my thunder, Councillor Whiting. I also, as the Mayor, would like to welcome Councillor Meads and congratulations on an excellent result in Kelverton as the independent member for the ward. We wish you well, and if we can do anything to help or support you, please do let us know. Always happy to help. Since our last meeting in June, I've had the privilege and honour of attending many community events across Gedling Borough. There are far too many to mention individually, but I'd like to highlight a few memorable occasions. Notably, I was delighted to join members of Gedling Country Park community, along with the Lord Lieutenant of Nottinghamshire, Veronica Pickering, and Deputy Lord Lieutenant Jean Pardoe, for the unveiling of the Queen Elizabeth II memorial benches. These benches are not only built to stand the test of time, but also serve as a lasting reminder and tribute to the dedication and the service of our late Queen. Congratulations to Sarah Benedek and the Friends Group for their outstanding work in making these benches happen. Gedling Borough Council has also hosted the Arnold Summer Fair in Arnott Hill Park this year, and it was themed around VE Day and VJ Day. The park was buzzing with energy, drawing people from across the borough. I want to say a special thank you to the young people who performed from their Flying High Expressive Arts CIC, whose moving performances helped us reflect on the impact of war and celebrate the peace that followed the end of the Second World War. The event was further enriched by the presence of some excellent community stalls and small businesses, and it added a vibrant and diverse atmosphere. I was also pleased to meet the team from Mapley All-Stars FC, who had a stall at the fair, and the club is working hard to bring substantial investment into our borough for grassroots football, helping to create opportunities for our young people to thrive in sport at the highest level. My thanks to all Gedling Borough Council staff who worked so hard to make the summer fair such a success. We also held our annual Armed Forces flag raising ceremony here at the Civic Centre. Once again, we welcomed Lord Lieutenant Veronica Pickering, the King's representative, and members of the Armed Forces, veterans and local brigades as we raised the Armed Forces flag with pride. I'd like to thank fellow councillors and our local Member of Parliament, Michael Payne, for their presence and support on this important occasion. On Windrush Day, I was proud to issue a statement as Mayor welcoming the appointment of Gedling resident Reverend Clive Foster as the United Kingdom's first Windrush Commissioner. Reverend Foster has long been a powerful advocate for those affected by historic injustices, and his deep community roots and tireless work make him an excellent choice for this national role. We wish him every success. And finally, during the past month, I issued a statement of condolence following the Air India plane crash. Whilst this tragedy occurred far from our shores, its impact was felt deeply here, particularly within the British Indian community, including many families in the East Midlands. Our thoughts remain with all those affected by this devastating loss. So that's my announcements complete. We now move on to item 4, and this is to approve the minutes of the meetings held on the 4th of June 2025. Can I ask Councillor Clark to move and Councillor Rachel Ellis to second, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd also like, just for this, I'll move those, is to welcome Councillor Meads and congratulate him on his win at Calverton. I was a little concerned there, Andy, is that you were in the Labour Party 6 months ago, and I think, you know, it's interesting to see that you've now changed. But anyway, welcome. You'll see how hard it is and how difficult it is to administer some of the things we get asked to do. Right, we'll move the minutes for the meeting on 4th of June 25, so I'll formally move those.
Formally second. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? And any abstentions? Okay, it's 2 abstentions, yeah. Thank you. That's all been carried, those minutes. So we'll move on to item 5. Any declarations of interest? Are there any declarations of interest from members? Councillor Clark.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I better declare I'm a Camera member, like probably many other people in here. So that's agenda item 6.
Thank you. No other declarations of interest? Okay, thank you. We'll move on. So we now move on to item 6, petitions under procedural rule 7.8. Mike?
Mr. Mayor, we have received one petition from the members of the public and the petitioner is in attendance to address the council. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can Mr. Lewis come to the lectern and address the council, please? I just want to remind you that you have 5 minutes to address the council. Council will then debate the petition and you are welcome to stay to hear that happen. Mr. Lewis? It's not... Oh, he's here. Thank you.
Chair, Councillors, I am Wyn Lewis, a long-standing parish councillor and resident of Limby. Thank you for giving me and my neighbour Joe Butler the chance to speak today on behalf of almost 2,000 signatories of our petitions. They represent residents from Gedling and beyond who are deeply concerned about the proposed changes to the Horse and Groom pub in Limby. We are supported by the parish council, borough, county councils and by Camera.
We are also grateful for the backing of our local MP, Michelle Welsh, who has met with concerned residents and raised the issue of our pub and the need to save historic village pubs as the beating heart of the community in Parliament earlier this month. Sending apologies for not being here today, she has provided this statement. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this important discussion. The Horse and Groom in Limby is more than just a pub. It is a vital part of the community's identity and heritage. Set in a village with deep historical roots, this pub has long been a place where neighbours meet, visitors feel welcome, and a tradition is respected. It reflects the character of Limby itself, peaceful, proud, and preserved. I've been contacted by a significant number of concerned residents about recent developments regarding the pub's future. They are united in their desire to see the Horse and Groom remain as it is, a traditional village pub, not a rebranded or repurposed venue that feels out of place in this setting. I wrote directly to Heineken to convey these concerns. Unfortunately, their response, while courteous, does little to reassure either myself or the local community. While they deny plans to turn the pub into a sports bar, they confirm the addition of a dedicated area for sport and darts, and they intend to make other internal and external alterations, all without any proper consultation with residents. For a community so engaged, so invested in protecting its local character, this lack of meaningful engagement is deeply disappointing. As MP for Sherwood Forest, I want to make it clear. I fully support the efforts of local councillors, residents and community leaders in seeking to protect the integrity of this historic pub. We are not opposed to investment, far from it, but investment must work with the community, not be imposed on it. I urge Heineken to pause, reflect and engage with local people before taking further steps. A strong local pub is not just one that serves drink, it is one that serves the spirit of the community. We thank Michelle for such a supportive statement and now look to you, our council, for your support. The Horse and Groom is a cherished local institution, a building of historic and architectural significance in our small conservation village. This historic coaching inn has stood on Main Street since the 17th century, with mentions in our county archives from 1823. The proposed refurbishment by Star Pubs threatens to erase the unique character of the pub. They plan changes to the exterior, including generic signage and illuminated branding, and a corporate generic interior design. Whilst this might work well in an urban setting, Limby is a rural village with a single thriving pub. The threat to the pub is imminent. Star Pubs is planning to bring in new management and begin refurbishing in mid-August. A planning application has been submitted to the council concerning illuminated signage that compromises character and the amenity of nearby residents. We are also deeply concerned about its impact on local wildlife. During the recent instalment of the pedestrian crossing, the brightness of the new lighting had to be bat-friendly. Equal consideration must be given to the impact that the illuminated signage will have on the local bat population, a species protected by law. In 2016, the council identified the pub as an asset of community value. We've urgently applied to have this status renewed. So we now implore the council to act swiftly and decisively by serving a building preservation notice under Section 3 of the Planning, Listed Buildings and Conservation Areas Act of 1990. This would provide immediate interim protection whilst the building's heritage value is assessed for formal listing by Historic England. It would ensure no irreversible changes are made without proper scrutiny, giving it temporary listed status for 6 months. The council's own planning and conservation officer has this week approached Historic England for advice about the Horse and Groom, making the need for the BPN even more pressing to protect the pub in the short term. We urge the council to preserve the Horse and Groom as the traditional village pub it is, to uphold the value of Limby as one of Gedling's conservation villages, and to ensure that future generations can enjoy this pub as we and many generations before us have. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Mr. Lewis and the other speaker. The petition is accepted. The requested action as presented on page 15, paragraph 1.1. As I have accepted the petition, this becomes the motion which is deemed to have been seconded. Since the publication of the report, there is some further background information for members to be aware of. The detail of this has been circulated to members of the meeting. I will also read out this background information for everyone in attendance. Since the publication of the report, the Council's Planning and Conservation Officer visited the Horse and Groom with members of the Parish Council on the 21st of July, following a request from the parish for the building to be listed and for the Council to serve a building preservation notice. A building preservation notice is a form of temporary listing and protects a building for up to 6 months. In this 6-month period, Historic England would assess the building and submit a report to the Secretary of State to consider whether to list the building formally. Prior to serving a building preservation notice, the local authority must consult with Historic England. During the visit on the 21st of July, the Planning and Conservation Officer observed that the building clearly had a historic core, but has been substantially altered in the 20th century. Due to the alterations, the building is, in their professional opinion, unlikely to be considered worthy of listing. However, the building has a notable 1930s phase, which includes bar fixtures and fittings which both the Council and CAMRA, a pub heritage group, can identify historic interest in. The Council are now engaging directly with Historic England in order to establish whether the building may merit listing and building preservation notice served. Before I open to speak, I have to admit, I do like to partake in a beverage or two now and again. And I have attended the Horse and Groom previously, and I agree with the assessments that have been made that, in fact, it is a very important part of our heritage in the borough. And I am pleased at the way in which the speakers and the petitioners have presented themselves this evening, so thank you very much. I'm now going to open up to debate. Councillor Martin Smith.
Thank you, Mayor, and also thank you to Wyn and Joe for speaking so eloquently. For those in the room who don't know Limby, and specifically the Horse and Groom, you really are missing something. If you were to arrive in Limby for the first time, you could quite easily believe that you've been transported to a picturesque Cotswold village. The stream and the docks run through the centre. Beautiful Limby stone houses and cottages are positioned either side of Main Street, and standing in the middle of all of this is the pub. Limby has and continues to be threatened with more and more housing. First the Strata development, and more about that in my question later, then the Bellway estate, soon the huge Totwigay development, and top it all, the proposed Gedling plan that shows another huge site, practically joining Limby with Papawick. What this petition is asking for is some stability, in the form of the horse and groom not being radically altered in the way that the Star Inns is proposing. I do accept that this council has very few powers to stop what may inevitably happen, but what I do urge is fellow councillors to accept the petition in the way it is being presented. The papers allow us 4 options, and I would like to instruct that the action that the petition requests is carried out in full.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Madam Deputy Mayor, Councillor Sandra Barnes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say Limby is a really beautiful little village, hamlet, call it what you will. Why do people go to live there? Because it is what I've just said. It's been a lovely village pub, and it should stay that way. The landlord makes a pub, always has done. Get a decent landlord. To change it to this modern one would be a disaster for the community, for the pub itself. That's in my opinion. It would be such a shame to see it spoiled and gone forever because of modernisation, which is not always the right thing. Some things should be kept traditional, this being one of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any more speakers? Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For centuries, pubs have been at the heart of their communities, whether those communities are small, tightly knit villages such as Limby or big urban housing estates. Many people value their local pub, even if they rarely or never use it. From the size of the petition and the speed with which it was collected.
Councillor Hughes, sorry to interrupt. Will you just place your mic a bit closer to you? Thank you.
I do beg your pardon. I do beg your pardon, Mr. Mayor. From the size of the petition and the speed with which it was collected, it is clear that the people of Limby, and by the sounds of it, the wider community, do value their pub. This seems to me to be yet another example of a pubco relentlessly pursuing profit, ignoring the pub's heritage, the wishes of the local community, and in this case, the landlord. I don't know the Horse and Groom or Limby well, but perhaps I will visit before anything happens to it. But the Star Inn proposals seem to me to be out of keeping with the conservation status of the village. Any changes should be handled sensitively and in consultation with the parish council and the local community. I don't know what the council can do legally, but it should do everything it can to try and preserve this gem of a pub, by the sounds of it. I commend the people of Limby for fighting to preserve their heritage and for bringing this to the council's attentions. I hope they are successful in persuading Star Inns to think again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. Councillor Whiting.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Can I start off by thanking the speakers that we had this evening and everyone who's come and signed the petition. This is an important, we're witnessing democracy taking place, and it's important. And in the just over 2 years I've been here, this is the first public petition that I think we've dealt with. So thank you for taking part. I've never visited the Horse and Groom pub in Limby. I'm happy for Mr. Mayor and Martin Smith to argue about who gets to take me and buy me a pint there, or maybe we could all go together. But others have said that about the importance of pubs, but I think it's also important that the pub fits the area that it's in. So if you go into a big city centre, then a sports bar might be appropriate because you have a choice of places where you can go. And if you want to go and watch sport and be loud and rowdy, you can go and do that, or you can find somewhere quieter. But I think pubs are closing at such an alarming rate in this country, and they are a big community asset, that where we have them and where the community uses them and value them, then our job as community leaders on this council is to do everything we can to preserve them. And I think it's great that Michelle Welsh is involved in this as the MP, and rightly so. We'd expect nothing less from her. It's shameful that Heineken haven't responded. I think that speaks volumes and tells you all you need to know about a big multinational company that's probably more interested in its profits than the people. So I would fully support what Councillor Martin Smith said about the council instructing that this petition is carried out in full, and I wish you all the best in the future for everything that you're trying to do. Thank you.
Leader of the council, Councillor Clark.
Well, I have declared an interest, but that's only the fact that I'm in camera, and so it's a non-pecuniary interest. I certainly support the petition. I hope that the council can do as much as give as much help in helping the people who have put the petition forward, and that we can challenge Star Inns and anybody else that wants to do this too, which is, everybody's mentioned it, they're great places. This is a hub of a community. It's part of the heritage of Britain, England, wherever you go and where people gather. There, particularly in areas like Limby, and we should fight to preserve it. So I fully have my support. Hopefully we can help you to throw this out and put something in there that's more fitting with the area. Thank you.
Councillor David Brocklebank.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to really echo what everyone else has said in the room so far and hopefully add something extra. I want to thank the speakers for bringing it, and the residents of Limby for bringing the petition and laying out their concerns so clearly. I also have to admit to have been a regular visitor to the Horse and Groom as well. With my wife's stepfather, we used to go as a welcome retreat during his cancer treatment a few years ago. It's a real cornerstone of Limby's identity and its role as a traditional village pub. I also want to recognise that members of the Licensing and Planning Committee members may wish to speak clearly in this room, but they are limited as they obviously don't want to prejudice any future or current applications. But I am assured that they will provide the necessary scrutiny and oversight that local residents would expect. I also want to thank the officers of the council who have been out so far and push the Planning Conservation Officer continues to work with the Parish Council and Historic England to investigate the options for the building preservation order. In the meantime, I also want to support what Councillor Whiting said around the lack of consultation so far, and I hope the existence of this petition and this debate reaches the owners of the pub and encourages them to undertake meaningful consultation and dialogue with the residents before they carry out any major changes and undertake work that could affect the character of the Horse and Groom forever. Thank you.
Councillor Maltby.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd also like to support the previous speakers. All too often we see pubs, shops with plenty of character brought out by other companies. I very rarely go into town for a drink now because there seems to be a heaving cattle market purely interested in making profit and not an enjoyable evening. These pubs also, some of the areas that people who suffer with social isolation like to go to, they are community centres within their own right as well. And I think we should do everything we can to protect this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Elliott.
Thank you. Maybe I should have declared an interest at the beginning of this as a Papwick young farmer in my only a couple of years ago. Yeah, I'm fully supportive of the petition, and the Horse and Groom is one of those pubs. It's intrinsic to the village. It's that village lifestyle. I've attended many a funeral there, and it's that agricultural background. One of my good friend's mothers had a funeral there only 6-7 years ago, and if that pub was altered, where would these locals go? Where that pub serves the community, and that is an agricultural community. It's the hub of it. It's surrounded by fields. They don't want a sports bar there, do they, really? So I'm fully supportive, and we need to keep that pub as it is. And the landlord and landlady over there, well done, and congratulations for standing up and being able to speak in the chamber, because it's a big thing to do, and I'm 100% behind you. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Roy Allen.
I just wanted to check if it's okay for Planning Committee and Licence Committee members to vote on this item.
So, sorry, Councillor Allen, so you asked that it's okay for members of the Planning Committee to speak, and Fran has confirmed that that's okay. So, Councillor Duncan.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I won't go over what everybody else has had to say so far. Obviously, I fully support this. But I'd just like to say, as a previous tenant of a Star Pubs and Bar pub, I would like to offer my services if the petitioners want. If they think I can be of any value, I'm willing to help. So if you get in touch with me after the meeting if you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Duncan. Councillor Strong.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As a non-pub goer, I'm not going to add to any previous comments about pubs, but as a published historian, I'm very intrigued by the possibility of the 30s fittings, which would not come under any planning regulation. As far as I know, I stand to be corrected. And I'd just like to remind you that things don't have to be old to be listed. Some of the 60s brutalist architecture has been listed. And I would urge the parish council perhaps to research what is actually there to provide a record ready for Historic England to see and illustrate their case. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Strong. Are there any more speakers? Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Actually, I just wanted to follow on what Councillor Allen said. He didn't say, can we speak on it? Actually, he said, can the planning committee vote on it? So just to clarify.
Just to clarify, yes, you can.
Right, yeah. That's all right, because that's what he did ask, not speak. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Are there any more speakers? So the motion is the wording of the petition, which has been formally accepted, so is seconded, proposed and seconded. So I'll move straight to the vote. So all those in... Yes, Councillor Smith? Yeah.
Residents have asked me to ask for a named vote. I'm not going to do that because having listened to the feeling of the chamber.
Thank you very much. So I'll move to the vote. All those in favour? Okay, any against? And any abstentions? That's unanimous, so the petition is submitted and accepted. Okay, do you want... I'm happy to give our guests time to leave if they want to now, before we... You're going to stay for a bit longer? Okay. Brilliant. We'll move on to the next item, which is item 7, questions asked by the public under procedural rule 7.7. Mike?
Mr Mayor, we have received 4 questions from members of the public, and I understand that 2 of those are in attendance tonight to ask their questions.
Thank you, Mike. A number of Cabinet members are not in attendance. As such, the leader will answer the public questions. Can I also remind the members of the public that you are only permitted to read out what has been published in the agenda pack, and you do not have a right of reply after you've received your answer. So the first question was from Tahir Butt. I think you, Mike, are going to read out the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I can't see the person in the audience, so I'll read the question out. So the NG5 area is one of the biggest in Nottinghamshire. So we believe that Arnold should also get the tram link into town. The tram would help people of Arnold from all ages to connect areas and will also increase business opportunities, which means more jobs. What is your thought about this?
Councillor Clark, to answer the question.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor, and thanks to the questioner. This council has always supported the extension of the tram. That's into Gedling, but unfortunately it is not within our control to do so. The tram system is owned by Nottingham City Council and is operated and maintained by Nottingham Trams Limited. In March this year, there was an announcement that the new East Midlands Mayor has provided £300,000 to commission a study into extending the network, and that is the NET, with one option to extend into Gedling. We very much support this, but realistically this could take many more years before we see anything on the ground. I could add a little bit myself, Mr Mayor, to part of the official answer there, is the fact I am part of the NET board, as was me, Jenny Hollinsworth, who unfortunately because of illness cannot be here tonight. And neither of us in that time, after repeated requests to the City Council to attend the meetings, have been notified of the meetings and never been told what's going off and when it's going off. And I've challenged the same at County Hall, because for those who don't know, I am a county councillor, to try and get us put there, because this would be a tremendous support for the people of Gedling. It would boost the economy, and therefore we should be supporting this. But I personally, and this group and this council, will push for that to happen in the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. The next question is from John Allen. Is John Allen here to ask his question?
The question I'm asking is regard to the Richard Herod Centre. My question is, why are you considering spending vast sums of ratepayers, taxpayers' money, moving leisure facilities to the Richard Herod Centre when it is such a difficult place to get to from Arnold and by public transport? I understand I can't add to that. Yeah.
Councillor Clark to answer.
Okay. Thanks, John. Didn't recognise you there. Our leisure strategy, the strategy outcomes planning model, has recommended the council should consider 2 new sites when planning its leisure provision for years to come. This has been based on an analysis of current site age and maintenance, liabilities of the performance of existing sites and local population, and a market analysis. The Cabinet has agreed to consider feasibility work for both new site in Carlton and a new site in Arnold. The current priority for investment is the new Carlton site at the Richard Herod Centre. This is based on the following. The current Carlton Forum Leisure Centre is 55 years old and has more significant building maintenance challenges. We do not own the Carlton Forum, so investment in that site is restricted. The high community need in Carlton reflected in the high usage of the current Carlton Forum site. Carlton Forum is our biggest leisure centre site, supporting the well-being of residents across the wider area. In 24-25, it had over 550,000 visits, almost half the footfall across all our sites. 2,500 individual DNA members registered, and almost 2,000 children on the swim scheme. Income was 1.8 million. The risk of potential closure due to the age of the building would have significant impact on the council finances and the health and well-being of thousands of residents. So we have made the decision to prioritise our plans for developing provision for Carlton area. As we consider our plans for a new Carlton site, we will use the development as an opportunity to advocate for better public transport options from across the borough to the site. This will involve promoting the need for improved transport to the south of the borough with our partners such as East Midlands Combined County Authority Mayor, and we are still developing longer-term plans for leisure provision in Arnold through the Ambition Arnold Regeneration Programme. And of course our sites at Arnold Leisure Centre and Redhill Leisure Centre remain open to the public. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. We'll now move on to the next question, which was from Ronald Madison. Is Ronald Madison here to ask his question? No? I'm going to ask the Chief Exec to read that out then, please. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the question is, why does Gedling Council constantly only consider what is good for Arnold, and the other areas under the council's umbrella are the poor neighbours? Thank you.
Councillor Clark to answer.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. The following answer is, this council is proud of all towns and villages within the Gedling boundary. The council provides a wide array of services that impact on daily life for all its residents. These include waste management, street cleaning, planning, environmental protection, licensing, parks and open spaces, and so much more. In terms of major investment, the council does what it can to invest in the borough. Recent examples of this, Mr. Mayor, include Galverton, where we have spent 1.5 million to provide further business start-up units at Hillcrest Business Park, Carlton, where plans have been launched to provide a new multi-million-pound leisure and wellbeing facility, Lamley Lane changing room and pitch renovation, Conway Road tennis court refurbishment, play area investment across the borough, the Shared Prosperity Fund, where £2.8 million has been spent widely across the borough, including a new £100,000 contribution to the Calverton Miners' Welfare to facilitate the construction of a new 3G pitch. Shared Prosperity Funding has provided targeted expenditure in the parish areas of Bestwood, Burton Joyce, Colwick, Newstead, Ravenshead and St Albans, on top of borough-wide grants to support local businesses and further investment in people and skills. A government grant award of £20 million for the Greater Carlton Plan for Neighbourhoods, which will be spent in the southern area of the borough over the next 10 years. All of this builds on the success of our award-winning Gedling Country Park, which we are immensely proud of as a council. So in answer to your question, I believe that this council tries its best to support all areas of the borough equally. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. I'm now going to move on to the next question. Can I ask Jim Vernon to ask his question if he's here, please? Thank you.
Before we start the clock, can I just thank the MO and the officers that helped me adjust this question so it fitted in with the rules. Thank you very much. And can I ask the Mayor, please, before I start, when we finish, as you've noticed, we've got quite a lot of elderly people sitting there at the back. When we finish, if you just pause and allow them to exit the building, it would be appreciated. Thank you very much. In light of the significant public concern, packed community protest meetings, and the growing confusion surrounding the future of the Richard Herod Centre site, the public require information on the following concerns. 1. Discussions or decisions which may have or have not taken place, formally or informally, about ending or not renewing of the Richard Herod Bowling Club's lease. 2. Steps the council has taken to honour its own transparency commitments during the Max Associates consultation and any emerging redevelopment plans. 3. Whether the council is prepared to pause any decisions relating to the site or the bowling club until full public scrutiny, including site-specific proposals and leaseholder impacts, have been debated openly. The bowling club is a well-established community institution run by volunteers with deep roots in the borough. Many residents, including vulnerable pensioners, are now fearful that they are being pushed out to make way for something that they have never been properly consulted on. Will the council finally acknowledge this and commit to a fair, inclusive process before taking any irrevocable steps? Or must concerned residents now preparing a formal call for an official investigation into the consultation process and the treatment of leaseholders? Thank you.
Councillor Clark to answer, please.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Jim. As regards what discussions have taken place, the council has been in dialogue with the Gedling Indoor Bowls Club Committee for the past year, and the lease arrangements have been discussed. The Bowls Club's current lease with the council, it runs until April 26. A request from the Bowls Club Committee has been made to the council for a new lease beyond April 26. However, the club have been informed that this is currently not possible while the council considers its pre-construction feasibility planning for a new leisure and wellbeing facility on the Richard Herod site. Plans are being developed, and this will include a business case for the new development work. This should be completed by January 26. It's imperative that a business case is established before the Cabinet makes a decision to proceed with the development. Should that business case be agreed early next year, construction preparation work could commence on site from spring 2026. Therefore, the council cannot currently commit to lease beyond April 26. It is acknowledged that this may cause uncertainty for the Bowls Club and its members. The council is committed to give clarity to the Bowls Club on the future direction of the site as early as it can do during 2025. after which it will continue to work alongside the Bowls Club to consider future options. As regards consultation, Max Associates are the consultants that compiled the Council's strategic outcomes planning model during 2023, and the findings of this work was reported publicly to the Cabinet on November 2023 and July 2024. Consultation informed this work, which comprised of a survey, public survey with over 600 responses, as well as 27 stakeholder consultations, 4 specific focus groups. There was additional engagement with the local stakeholders and partners, sports clubs, national governing bodies for sport. Both Gedling Indoor Bowls Club and England Indoor Bowls Association were consulted at the time, and their feedback considered by the consultants. The consultants recommended, as part of the strategy, that Council should consult further with Gedling Borough Bowls Club to discuss a possible reduction in the number of rinks at their centre from 6 to 3. Bear with me a minute, Mr. Mayor. And in July 2024, Cabinet agreed to undertake the pre-construction feasibility planning for a new Carlton Leisure Centre, Community Wellbeing Centre, and consult further with the public and stakeholders regarding its leisure transformation plans. Since April 25, the Council has been working with Consultants Alliance Leisure to move forward with its feasibility planning. The Council does not have internal expertise as a capacity to undertake this work alone. This involves retrieving and reviewing the strategic outcomes planning model to ensure its evidence base is up to date. Max Associates will again be undertaking this. A public survey to which over 1,500 responses have been received. 20 separate stakeholder and community meetings seeking the views of local people and partners on the new leisure and wellbeing facility at Richard Herod Centre. This has included 2 consultation meetings specifically for members of Gedling Indoor Bowls Club in June, at which attendees made it clear their preference was 6 rinks, not 3. Consulting with the national governing bodies for the sport and other partners. The insight gathered by both the strategy review and the widespread community and stakeholder engagement will be used to inform a revised proposed layout for the new centre. It is expected that the Cabinet will consider these plans in autumn. As regards the Bowls Club, the Council recognises that the role Gedling Indoor Bowls Club has played over many years and the work it continues to do to offer indoor bowls to its users. This recognition has been influential in the support the Council has offered the Bowls Club since the COVID-19 pandemic. This has included COVID-19 business support, restarts grants totalling £34,600 and Cabinet decisions agreeing to offer a significantly reduced rent to support the club's finances during the 2021 to 2024 period. This follows requests during that time from the Bowls Club for additional support to help manage their finances. The club also benefits from 100% business case relief, which is agreed by the Council. As part of the current consultation process, 2 focus groups were organised by the Council at Richard Herod Centre, specifically for Gedling Indoor Bowls Club members to attend on 23rd of June. Over 200 people attended the 2 focus groups, at which the context and proposals for the feasibility work planned for a new site were presented, and an opportunity given for participants to share their thoughts, ideas, concerns with the Council about what facilities a new centre at Richard Herod Centre might have. The notes were recorded by the Council officers and the Bowls Club Committee. I was also submitted to the Council a list of questions, comments raised by the focus groups, and afterwards by its members and supporters. This feedback will be considered as we move forward with our proposals, alongside our wider engagement across the community. The Council continues to meet regularly with the Bowls Club Committee and will share proposals with them as they are developed further. The Council is also engaging with the England Indoor Bowls Association to understand the future business case for the indoor bowls. And that is the end of that question, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Clark. So that's the end of the public questions. I'd like to thank the public for attending, those who've attended for the questions. Here at Gedling, we are open to allowing members of the public always to ask questions, and we always make sure that answers are given. Okay? So I'm happy to give members time to leave members of the public to leave if they wish. Councillor Rachel Ellis.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've just noted that I received an email from Councillor Feeney, which was received before the start of this meeting, offering his apologies for this meeting. Thank you.
We'll note them, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to item 8 now. Questions asked by members under procedural rule 7.9. Mike?
Mr. Mayor, we have received 9 questions from members.
Thank you, Mike. Can all members asking questions ensure that supplementary questions, if asked, are questions and not wider commentary? Similarly, answers to questions and supplementary questions are not for debate. So the first question is Councillor Martin Smith. Please ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members have been repeatedly told in this chamber that there is a housing crisis in this country. This, along with all the problems in the country and the world are facing, have previously been blamed on the Conservative government. However, Gedling Borough Council has the means to assist with alleviating some of the housing problems within this borough by using S106 contributions from house builders. £560,567 was allocated by the developer of the Strata Homes site in Limby 9 years ago. Application 2014-0959. This money needs spending by 2026, otherwise the money will be returned to the developer. Whilst I'm aware that officers know there is a time limit on this money, why has this not been spent before and used to alleviate some of the acute housing needs faced by those in this borough? We either have a housing crisis or we don't. This council's own website shows that in total, there is £1,451,019 in the pot for affordable housing. Officers have informed me that they are working on delivering affordable housing on sites in Netherfield and are looking to acquire properties for the same purpose. Those who purchased their home in Limby 9 years ago would prefer to have seen this money spent locally to them, and certainly by now. So why the 9-year delay and still nothing to show for the S106 contribution?
Thank you very much. Councillor Roy Allen, please answer the question.
The Council's new local plan will meet government housing targets, delivering more homes, including affordable ones, faster. When approving planning applications, the Council requires developers to provide affordable housing on site. Only in rare cases where on-site provision isn't possible does the Council negotiate a financial contribution instead, following its affordable housing supplementary planning document. The Strata Homes Section 106 agreement allows funds to be spent borough-wide. The delay in using Strata Homes contribution is because the Council doesn't manage its own housing stock. While developers have paid sums instead of providing affordable homes, buying and managing just a few properties isn't practical or affordable without knowing future contributions. With more funds now available, the Council is exploring options to buy properties across the borough for social housing as allowed by Section 106 agreements. This aligns with the upcoming housing strategy, which will be consulted on after approval by the portfolio holder. All contributions will be spent by their deadlines.
Thank you. Councillor Smith, would you like to ask a supplementary question?
Yes, please. I'd normally start this by thanking the member for the reply. I'm actually going to thank him for the excuses that were given. The original S106 contribution of £560,567 towards affordable housing, which was allocated in 2014, will now buy considerably less housing today than it would have done if it had been used at the time. Can you reassure both Linby residents and myself that the money has been invested over the last 9 years and that the interest gained will be added to the original contribution? A very simple calculation shows that probably around £100,000 should have been earned in interest.
Thank you. Councillor Royallen to answer the supplementary question.
I think I gave the answer why it wasn't spent. I will check on how much money it has made through investment, and the money will be spent where suitable to fulfil the housing needs of Gedling residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll now move on. Councillor Bestwick, you've got a question to ask?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question is to the portfolio holder for environmental services. What is the current number of pavement sweepers deployable across the borough? Are they all currently operational, and does the Cabinet member feel certain this will be adequate during the autumn?
Councillor Palin to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you for your question, Councillor Bestwick. I'm going to start at the end of your question because I don't think it would be possible for any local authority like Gedling, with so many leafy roads, to be able to say that any number of pavement sweepers would be adequate to completely do the service you would expect. However, at the current time, the council has 4 mechanical sweepers as part of the council fleet. There are 2 large sweepers for roads and 2 smaller sweepers for pavements. All 4 are operational at the current time. The 2 smaller sweepers have only recently been procured as part of the fleet replacement programme, and as such there should be far less maintenance issues and off-road time with these vehicles this year. In terms of vehicles, we have better capacity, maybe not adequate, but better capacity for the leaf fall season. However, we need to note that all schedules are subject to change, especially in emergency situations such as flooding, where the street care team's response is about deploying sandbags, clearing drainage grids, and post-event clean-ups, which was an area of strength in the recent BDO internal audit report presented to the Audit Committee on the 24th of June. I'm sorry that we can't do both, but hopefully we will not have the same flooding this year, and our vehicles may be adequate for leaf drop. In addition to the new vehicles, the new Assistant Director of Environment Operations joined the Council this week. And as a part of the rollout of the Council's new in-cab handheld software, which some of us had a look at this evening, its work is being undertaken in the autumn to review the street cleansing rounds to ensure that they are accurately mapped as part of the implementation of the system, which should improve efficiency of street cleansing. The system will enable us to identify and monitor hotspots which will need greater maintenance, including heavy leaf fall areas, to ensure adequate maintenance. This programme of work will be ongoing through the autumn. Finally, whilst we have the vehicles and equipment to develop street cleansing, we need to ensure officer capacity so that all vehicles can be utilised appropriately. We have therefore separated street care from parks to instead combine our waste team so that we can ensure effective management across the areas with stronger focus on absence management, use of agency and performance.
Thank you very much for the answer. Councillor Bestwick, would you like to ask a supplementary question?
Yes, please, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Thank you for the answer, Councillor Paling. I noticed that you mentioned that we have so many leafy roads in the Gedling Borough, which of course we do. I would say that residents are might be disappointed with your answer. I've been contacted from residents not just in leafy rural areas but from wards in the urban areas with details of dangerous amounts of leaves left across pavements for months, causing serious safety concerns for vulnerable residents and seemingly making a mockery of the advertised sweeping schedule, which I'm happy to share with the Cabinet member after this meeting. Can the Cabinet member now give a commitment to all in this chamber and indeed all the residents across the Gedling Borough to ensure that the sweeping schedule of our pavements and gutters will be adhered to, and that they will recommend to Cabinet the purchase of new vehicles when necessary to make sure we have the capacity to meet the needs of the borough, and bearing in mind all the new houses being built, those needs in the future? Thank you.
Councillor Palin.
Thank you. I think I said at the beginning that adequate is unlikely to be achievable. However many we have, there will be areas that will not get done enough. Leaf fall happens suddenly. It happens during periods of heavy rain. And if the rain is heavy enough, we then require street cleansing teams to do other work for us. So I cannot make a promise that it will be adequate. What I can promise, it will be improved, and the new systems that we are introducing in the autumn will ensure this.
Thank you. So we'll now move on to the next question. Councillor Maltby, please ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question is for the portfolio holder of public protection. In a bid to help reduce antisocial behaviour, CCTV was promised to be installed in Muirfield Park, Bestwood St Albans. But then installation plans were cancelled. Can you advise why and how we can work together with the residents in order to get CCTV installed?
Thank you. Councillor David Ellis to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I assume that Councillor Maltby has read the annual CCTV monitoring report that Cabinet considered on the 10th of July. But just to remind members, CCTV is regulated by the Surveillance Commissioner through the National Statutory Code of Practice, and locally is developed in compliance with the Council's policy, which was adopted in March 2020. This policy is designed to ensure that the Council's operation of CCTV in all its forms complies with the law and the principles of good governance. As part of this, the policy requires that any operational changes to the systems are approved by the Senior Responsible Officer. This includes any additional cameras, removal of cameras. These decisions should be evidence-based and balance the needs of crime prevention and detection with, amongst others, the Protection of Freedoms Act 2012. CCTV is one of a range of approaches to crime and antisocial behaviour, and surveillance needs to be considered in that wider context. A surveillance camera was initially proposed by the Council for Muirfield Recreation Ground in May 2022. At that time, the number and type of incidents of the site indicated that one may be justified and relevant permissions were sought. However, there are a number of technical complexities with this proposed installation which delayed work on it. And during this time, officers observed a reduction in the number of reported incidents. As a result of these changed circumstances, the project was deferred. It was kept on the agenda, and the incidents of crime, both on and around the recreation ground, were regularly reviewed. These reviews concluded that installing a camera would be disproportionate and not in line with the Protection of Freedoms Act 2012 and its associated codes of practice. This code of practice places a duty on systems owners to ensure that when cameras are deployed, officers carefully consider the balance between carrying out surveillance and safeguarding individual privacy and rights. And as such, officers were satisfied that a proposed camera would not be justified. Officers also consulted with the local police inspector in April 2024, March 2025 and recently in July 2025 on the need for a camera. On all occasions, the local police agreed with the council officers that taking into consideration the nature and incidents that a permanent CCTV would be seen as an unreasonable and disproportionate intervention. The site will, however, be kept under review. As members and residents would expect, Mr Mayor, you can be assured that the local Labour member for Bestwood and St Albans ward actively engages with local residents and the parish council and very much ensures that I'm personally aware of local concerns that come to her attention. The message has to be that the decision to introduce a new CCTV camera has to be evidence-based and that at present the evidence is not sufficient to justify it. Residents should ensure that any antisocial behaviour, crimes or similar incidents they're aware of are reported to provide the evidence base. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ellis. Councillor Maltby, would you like to ask a supplementary question?
Yes, Mr Mayor.
Okay.
Whilst I welcome the response from Councillor David Ellis, and I also acknowledge the work that Councillor Rachel Ellis has also done to try and secure CCTV funding, I am somewhat concerned. Obviously, I am new, I'm still finding my feet, but I'm having looked online and at historical issues that are surrounding there's still a lot of crime happening around there, according to the police database. We've had sexual crimes, quite a lot of arson taking place at the park, and also there was a knife attack, so someone was actually stabbed. Even recently, the MP for Gedling, Michael Payne, eloquently spoke on behalf of a head teacher at a local school where they were saying how afraid the kids were to let the kids play at Millfield Park because of weekly incidents of vandalism to public property, including the burning of park equipment and people carrying knives, as well as off-road bikers ripping up the park and wearing full balaclavas.
Councillor Maltby, sorry to interrupt, but it does need to be a question.
This is my question.
Okay.
So based on what Councillor John Clark put in the Evening Post in early 2022, one of the reasons also for CCTV is also to reduce the fear of crime. There is a lot of fear of crime in that area, and I'd still like to see if we can work together to try and see if we can look into still establishing funding for CCTV.
Okay. Councillor Ellis, to answer.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I think Councillor Maltby pointed out that these incidents he's talked about relate back to 2022, which was the time I cited in the response. I don't want to talk the area down. There have been problems in the area, but the evidence is that no longer is sufficient to justify CCTV. And as I say, we're happy to keep it under review, but let's not talk the area down. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer. Can I just remind members that I did say at the start that supplementaries are questions. I'll let you off for that one, but I do need to be fair to everyone. So a little bit of preamble you can get away with, but I need you to ask a question if it's a supplementary. It's not an opportunity to make a statement. Can I now move on to Councillor Walker? Please ask your question.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can the Cabinet Member for Public Health assure me that Calverton Leisure Centre will remain open under Labour's leisure transformation plans? Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Clark to answer.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Jane Walker. Full address there. As part of the leisure transformation programme, we will be looking at the ongoing business case for all our leisure sites, and this includes those governed under joint use agreements at Carlton Academy, Redhill Academy and Colonel Frank Seeley Academy. These sites that the Council does not own, so our ability to ensure ongoing maintenance and options for the future development are very limited as a result. All our sites are aging in their nature, so ensuring a sustainable model for future delivery to safeguard leisure services across the borough for years to come is essential. We are therefore updating our strategic outcomes planning model strategy with the most up-to-date community financial market and business data to understand the future business case for each of our leisure sites as we plan for the future. Once this review is complete, we will consider options for the future provision, balancing business and community need. At this stage, Calverton Leisure Centre remains open for business as usual, and the Council has agreed the operational budget to do this for 25-26. any future change to joint use agreements with Nottinghamshire County Council and Red Hill Academy Trust will require consultation with the public. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Walker, do you have a supplementary? Thank you.
Thank you. I just wondered what plans have the council got to upgrade the site from any current contributions from developers in the area, and would it be possible to ask the portfolio holder to meet myself and my fellow ward councillors at the leisure centre so we can have a walk round and have a look at the site? Thank you.
Councillor Clark.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I mean, it depends whether Jenny's back, but if she's not, I'll certainly go, and I know it well. The site. The problem is, as you've seen throughout tonight, we've got ongoing problems with all these sites all over the place. We don't own them, and it is, particularly in Carlton Forum situation, kicking the county council to do some work on that. We've been paying out to keep that going, and it just cannot go on like that. So I would also add to this, Jane, is the fact that we need to make sure that ward councillors are fully in sight of what we propose doing or are consulted, at the time. So yeah, we'll arrange that, and I say if Jenny's not well enough to come out, I'll pop out and I'll get Henry as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Adams, please ask your question.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, can the Cabinet Member for Sustainable Growth and Economy please direct us to the planning application number, decision notice, or if not available, the authoriser for the June 4th raising of the Pride Progress flag at Gedling Borough Council? Thank you.
I'm going to answer this question. To answer your question, Councillor Adams, the application number is 2025-0458, which I now believe has been approved by Gedling Borough Council's Planning Committee members. Councillor Adams, do you have a supplementary?
So that's a retrospective planning application, which would be a very sad state of affairs. It means that we've done something as a council without permission. Following our own rules as a council is key, especially as a planning authority. We are elected by our residents who expect us to follow our own rules. Such breaches could leave us susceptible to a maladministration complaint by the local government ombudsman. And considering the seriousness of this circumstance, can you confirm if the person was advised against breaching planning prior to making his or her decision? And if he or she was, can the Cabinet Member confirm if he or she has referred themselves to standards? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. As Mayor, I made it clear at Annual Council in May that the theme of my year would be inclusivity. That means making a conscious effort to represent all the people who live in our borough, not just those who share our own personal views, but everyone. It includes standing up for residents who are too often marginalised or made to feel unwelcome, including members of the LGBTQ+ community. Flying the Progress Pride flag at the Civic Centre was a deliberate and symbolic act as part of that commitment. The Progress Pride flag is an evolution of the original rainbow flag, designed specifically to better reflect the full diversity of the LGBTQ+ community, including trans people and people of colour, and to acknowledge the ongoing struggle for equality. It ensures that all members of the community are recognised and included. As someone who's been on the receiving end of homophobia throughout my life, and yes, even now while serving as your mayor of this borough, I can tell you that visible support from those in positions of responsibility matters. It sends a powerful message of solidarity and reassurance, especially to those who may not always feel safe or accepted. That said, I do recognise the technical requirement for planning permission to fly certain flags. To that end, I asked our officers to put in place the necessary permissions to fly the Progress Pride flag in future years. This is about more than what's on a flagpole. It's about who we are as a community, one that chooses kindness, inclusion and respect for all. That's a message I will always be proud to stand behind as the Mayor of Gedling Borough and an ordinary citizen just like everyone else. Thank you. We'll now move on. Councillor Smith, please ask your question.
Thank you, Mayor. Question for the Cabinet Member for Environmental Services Operations. Fly tipping on Cats Lane in Stoke Bardolph is a far too regular occurrence. Will the Cabinet Member finally commit her department to working alongside Councillor Adams, the Parish Council and myself in ensuring Gedling Borough Council fund and install CCTV on Cats Lane to prosecute and deter those fly tipping at this hotspot?
Councillor David Ellis.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll answer this question, but it relates more to my portfolio than Councillor Paling's. Councillor Smith will remember our previous discussions about this problem. We all recognise that fly tipping is a particular problem on the Stoke Lane, Cats Lane area of Stoke Bardolph, and something which residents are rightly concerned about. However, that doesn't mean that CCTV is the answer or is appropriate. I'm advised that a fixed camera would have a limited coverage and is unlikely to view specific areas where offences occur. Such a camera would need to be visible and consequently risk displacing offences to monitored nearby locations, and a single fixed camera will be of limited value. The topography of the area also means that the transmission pathways would be a challenge and incur additional cost. The Council responds to reports of fly tipping in the area and, as well as removing them, monitors the level and type of incident. Officers consider that the incidence of fly tipping in the area does not meet the test of significant harm, vulnerability or community impact that would warrant this level of this level of intervention. Most CCTV cameras across the borough have multiple functions, such as detecting antisocial behaviour and crime, whereas a camera in this location would serve a single environmental purpose, which further reduces the justification for an installation. Following years of austerity and cuts to our resources, we are no longer able to sustain the neighbourhood warden service. With the larger team that was there previously, the Council was able to be more active, including using mobile covert cameras. This was used extensively around Cats Lane, with a significant number of fixed penalty notices being issued. We are currently in the process of commissioning a private provider to act as enforcement partners on environmental crime, including fly tipping. Residents can be ensured that the area is a known hotspot and will be on the agenda for enforcement activity in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Smith, do you have a supplementary?
Thank you, Mayor. In the answer given by the portfolio holder, he said a visible camera would prevent it. Well, that's good. That's exactly what the residents of Stoke Bardolph want, a deterrent to stop it happening. Mobile covert cameras have been in place there, and it may catch every fourth or fifth occurrence, but it doesn't put off people continuing to do it. Will he work with me to ensure that further work and assessments go into reassessing whether CCTV is the answer? Because we've tried everything else, nothing's worked. CCTV is required.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I'm happy to work with Councillor Smith and the other local members, but I would just reiterate that the evidence isn't there that would justify a CCTV camera. So there are other answers which we will be trying to address. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Whiting, please ask your question.
Thank you, Matt. The public space protection order aimed at antisocial car cruisers has improved the situation over the last 2 years, but there are still incidents of car meets and breaches of the order. Will Gedling support the extension of the PSPO and ensure everything is in place before the current order expires in 2026?
Councillor David Ellis.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Members will recall that the Council introduced a PSPO to address nuisance from vehicles and people engaged in car cruising activities. The order was made after consideration of the evidence and consultation and lasts for 3 years, until the 22nd of June 2026. There is scope within the order for an extension of a further 3 years if the circumstances at the time justify it. Both the police and officers from the Public Protection team believe that the PSPO has been an effective tool in combating the problem of car-related ASB, although there are still incidents reported. Consequently, officers from the Council's Public Protection and legal teams have already met to discuss an extension of the PSPO and begun the review process and will report to Cabinet in the coming months with proposals relating to the extension. Thank you.
Councillor Whiting, do you have a supplementary?
Very briefly, will that all happen, Councillor Ellis, before June next year? So all being well, we won't have a break?
Sir Ellis, yeah.
All being well, yes.
So we'll now move on. Councillor Whiting, your second question, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Is Gedling Borough Council currently using artificial intelligence for any functions of the council, and what plans are there to use AI in the future?
Councillor Clark, are you answering this one?
I'm answering this one, yeah. I've got a sore throat now. Right. Thanks, Councillor Whiting. And the answer to this one is artificial intelligence, AI, is currently utilised in limited capacity within Gedling Borough Council. The primary application of all AI thus far has been in assisting with content creation for officers, such as summarising meetings and generating documents. It is important to note that AI is not used for any decision-making processes, and no personally identifiable or sensitive information is exposed to all AI tools. The Council are currently working on an AI policy that is underpinned by guiding principles to ensure officers are using tools appropriately and compliantly. Looking ahead, the Council intends to harness AI's potential to enhance efficiency and customer service where appropriate. Some anticipated applications include optimising customer access channels, summarising large amounts of data, documenting content creation, automating repetitive tasks, monitoring trends to provide meaningful data for decision-making and research applications. As software suppliers to integrate AI functionalities into their products, the Council will evaluate these enhancements on case-by-case basis. This evaluation will be conducted by the Business and Technical Design Authority Board to ensure any AI adoption aligns with the Council's strategic goals and compliance with our governance. Within the Council, while the Council recognises significant opportunities presented by AI, the safety and security of our data remain our top priorities. Any implementation of AI will be carefully considered to uphold these principles. Thank you.
Councillor Whiting, do you have a supplementary?
Thank you, Mayor, and can I thank Councillor Clark for that response? AI is obviously could be potentially a very good thing, but there are some concerns that I have. So could Councillor Clark reassure us that the future policy that's being developed will take into account the inherent biases that there are in some forms of AI towards certain groups of people? For example, I think Amazon had to abandon using it for recruitment purposes because it was only giving them white men who had applied. It was filtering out all the female and ethnic minority candidates. And can he also assure us that the policy, when it is developed or in development, will come to Overview and Scrutiny Committee so that we can have a look at it and offer some input, please?
Yeah, thanks, Russell. I certainly support it. I think as a council, as we move forward in the transformation, that we need, Mr Mayor, now to make sure everybody's fully informed. And I'm being a cranky now. Somebody said to me today, anybody that's over 25 will find it hard to deal with the new technology that's coming in the next 2 years. But I think we as a council, and this has got, whether this council, new council or whatever, we've got to be confident that it is safe for our, the citizens that look to us to make decisions. So you're right on that. And I think every single council member should know exactly what we're doing. But the transformation, you've been told and been shown various things across it by Kate, etc. And I think we need to keep on top of that to make sure everybody's well informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Councillor Meads, your question, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. My question is, the SIL public consultation was conducted in February this year. When will we be presented with the results, and why has it taken so long?
Councillor Royal, to answer, thank you.
Thank you. A report with feedback and recommendations for updating the Community Infrastructure Levy project list will be reviewed by the Cabinet member later this year, as planned in the consultation documents. Officers are targeting the September meeting, and the forward plan has been updated to reflect this.
Councillor Meads, do you have a supplementary?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr Mayor. So my question is, will the findings of the SIL consultation be presented to us along with a predetermined list of SIL projects, or will the officers of this council and all councillors work together in a collaborative manner to identify the genuinely most urgent needed SIL projects in the borough?
Councillor Allen?
I think we worked together when we responded to the consultation, and it won't be predetermined. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the end of questions. Can I thank members for pretty much sticking to the rules all the way through, and thank you to the members that answered the questions. That was a good session. So item 9, reports and recommendations from the executive or a committee procedural rule 7.10. There are 3 reports and we will take them in turn. So 9A, the annual Treasury activity report. The recommendation is on page 35. I believe Councillor Clark is to move and Councillor Rachel is to second. Thank you.
Move a recommendation, Chairman.
Seconded formally, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to open this up to debate. Would anyone like to speak on this item? Councillor Sam Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just point colleagues to paragraph 2.14, page 37. It states on there that Donald Trump's to blame for some economic downturn in GDP and growth. Just wondered what evidence we have of that. Very strange statement to see in a report written by Gedling Borough Council, and I would have thought that if anyone is to blame for the horrific economic situation we find ourselves in, it'd be Rachel from accounts or customer services or whatever department she hasn't worked in, with taxes going up, unemployment going up and interest rates going up quicker than they did when Liz Truss was Prime Minister. So I just wonder if we could have a response to that point, please, and evidence on the Trump statement there. Paragraph 2.63 says that debt is still at nearly £11 million. I wondered what steps had been taken to reduce that and by how much as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Are there any other comments from members? No? Okay. Councillor Clark to close then, please.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We probably should have added Liz Truss, Cleveley and all the other band of people that seem down there. So, you know, I don't know why that's there, but I've seen this actually. So I've seen this on other things that I represent where it states that quite clearly. I don't know why. And the other answer, I'll get back to you with a written answer. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to move to the vote now then, please. All those in favour, please show. Anyone against? And any abstentions? Thank you. That's carried. So we now move to item 9B, the budget outturn and budget carry forward 2024-2025. Please note that the Council has asked to approve the method of financing of the 2024-25 capital expenditure and minimum revenue provision only as set out on page 54. The other parts of the report are an executive function and have already been approved by Cabinet. Councillor Clark to move and Councillor Rachel Ellis to second.
Move, Mr. Mayor.
Seconded, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, would anyone else like to speak on this item? Councillor Russell-Whiting.
Just a brief question, Mayor, if I may, please. Under paragraph 2.2, which I think spreads over page 4 and 5 of the report, it says that we had a lot of agency staff to cover waste rounds, but recruitment is going to be ongoing, and this seems to be down partly to the extended housing that we've got. Is there any update on how that recruitment is going or is hoped to go, and is further recruitment going to be needed as we're going to have to be building more houses? Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Clark then?
Yeah, thanks for that, Russell. We'll give you an update on that, but I think we've got an excellent team now in place in dealing with the agency people and dealing with all the other things. I think you'll see significant improvements, but we can get you some more information. Okay, thank you. And I don't know whether Morris.
Councillor Palin?
I can also add to that we're very much dependent on agency cover in environmental services for annual leave and sick leave, and we have had particularly bad sick leave in the last few weeks. Our agency costs are reducing. I hope we can reduce them further, but I cannot promise that because it is cheaper to pay agency costs than to employ additional staff to cover contingencies, if that makes sense to you, Russell. Thank you.
Councillor Clark, are you okay to close them?
Yeah, close.
Oh, is there further speakers? No. Go ahead, Councillor.
Close.
Okay. I'll now move it to the vote then. All those in favour, please show. Anyone against? And any abstentions? That's clearly carried. So we'll move to 9C, the external audit fees for the 2024-25 Statement of Accounts. The recommendation is on page 95. Councillor Clark to move and Councillor Roxanne Ellis to second, please.
Thank you. I'll move the recommendation. It's frustrating this. It's gone on for years. It's beginning to level out and it's under successive governments. But I know doing finance on the Fire Authority, the massive increase in audit fees that are not controllable by us. And I think it's, as you were saying, Mike, was about 142,000 more to find this year. So we are having to rate and get the 88,549. But I do think now it should start levelling out because it's a hell of a lot of money for what we get back. Thank you.
Councillor Roxanne Ellis.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Formally second.
Is there any other comments on this item? Anyone wish to speak? No? Councillor Clark to close then?
Yeah, formally close.
We'll move to the vote. All those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? That's clearly carried. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to item 10, updating park and open space bylaws. The recommendation is on page 101. Councillor Clark to move and Councillor Palin to second, please.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I'll formally move the recommendation on page 101.
Councillor Palin.
I formally second and reserve the right to speak if necessary.
Okay, I'm now going to open this up to debate. Would any members like to speak on this item? Councillor Martin Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. There's a great deal of work gone into this by officers and they're to be thanked and given great credit for what they've done. I'm sure every member in the chamber has read every page and every sentence in great detail. If you're still not sure, I suggest that you perhaps look at page 153 because that's where the summary of the changes are actually listed. And there are only 7 changes. Bylaws normally tell you what you can't do rather than what you can do. And most of these do say what you can't do. However, what you can't do, in my mind, are pretty good common sense. The changes have been made to benefit residents of this borough, not to hinder them. So as a result, this party will be fully recommending that we observe the recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Any other comments? Okay, I'll go to Councillor Clark to close then, please.
Just to say thank you for those. I mean, I think it does show as well we've got an excellent legal team working on these things. And the use of bylaws, I think, can be very effective, but you can overuse it. So I would support on page 101 and ask the council to support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. We'll now move to the vote. All those in favour, please show. Okay, anyone against? And any abstentions? That's clearly carried. Thank you. Now move on to item 11, changes to political balance and committee members. The recommendation is on page 183. Councillor Clark to move and Councillor Rachel Ellis to second, please.
Move, Mr Mayor.
Formally second, Mr Mayor.
No speakers on this? No? Okay. We'll move to the vote then, please. Councillor Clark to close, unless you've got
Formally
any...
close.
Yeah. We'll move to the vote. All those in favour, please show. Anyone against? And any abstentions? That's carried. Thank you very much. Item 12, appointment to outside bodies. The recommendation is on page 187. Councillor Clark to move and Councillor Rachel Ellis to second.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Formally move the recommendation on page 187.
Formally second, thank you.
Any speakers? Councillor Russell-Whiting.
Thanks, Mayor. Congratulations to Councillor Clark on his appointment to the Greater Carlton Long-Term Plan for Neighbourhoods Committee. Is there any way that we could have, obviously Councillor Clark is going to be our representative, will there be any feedback from Councillor Clark to the Council? Is there any mechanism that exists or can be developed? Because at the moment, a lot of us are completely in the dark about this significant amount of money. And I'm certain Councillor Clark will be fighting hard for us all, but it would be good if there was some mechanism of where we could hear about these meetings rather than just reading the public notes on the website.
I do believe that some of that work is going to scrutiny, I've just been informed, so you will get to see some of that. But Councillor Clark, do you want to answer the question?
Yeah, I mean, you're battling. It's obviously changed, different people are on there. But there's no secrets on any of it. And it's quite interesting because they're all, Mr Mayor, they're all different political persuasions or different people who are not interested in politics. They're interested in the area that they live in or represent. So I can ask him to do some more information to make sure everyone, we could probably include something in this or one of the committees where we could put something in that gives some information. But we don't have control over this, quite rightly. It's got an independent chair and it's up to that chair. Thank you.
If there's no more speakers, I will ask Councillor Clark to close.
Formally close, Mr Mayor.
Okay. All those in favour, please show. Anyone against? And any abstentions? Again, that's clearly carried. Thank you very much, members. Item 13, notification of changes to policy advisors. The recommendation is on page 193. Councillor Clark to move and Councillor Rachel Ellis to second, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll formally move that.
Formally second.
Would anyone like to speak on this item? Councillor Sam Smith.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And I'm never happy to see Sandra move positions, but seeing her go back up the top there is absolutely fantastic because she's an asset to our community and brings a smile to everyone's face when she walks through the door, including mine. So what I'm about to say is no reflection of her on Councillor Barnes, but the Conservative group have constantly, over a long period of time, requested for a report or a review into the effectiveness of these roles, which do carry an allowance from this council as well. So I wonder, whilst we've got this vacancy and no notice of when that might be filled, whether we could spend the time now doing that review on their effectiveness and come forward with potential suggestions that could see the role amended and maybe focused on individual particular topics and priorities of residents. We've heard a lot on CCTV today. There's a massive project that the leader and I have worked on for a long time that goes by the name of LGR, and whether we can enhance these roles a little bit to focus on particular priorities as and when they arise, rather than assigning them to particular portfolios. So I just wonder if we can take this time now with that vacancy to do such a thing. And the conclusion may be we've gone on this long with a vacancy, we might not need to fill it, and we can delete the post altogether and put that savings into residents' priorities or the debt that I mentioned earlier. But I just think we need to take this time to do such a review.
Councillor Catherine Fox.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to say on record thank you to Councillor Sandra Barnes for all her work that she's done as a policy advisor to myself with my life chances and vulnerability portfolio. which has a heavy workload. So I'm grateful to Sandra for the work that she's done there. And also on behalf of Councillor Linda Pearson, who Sandra was also the policy advisor for regarding events and parish work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fox. Is there any more speakers on this item before I move to John Clark to close? Councillor Paling.
Thank you. I would like to acknowledge the work of Councillor Wilkinson in supporting me on environmental services operations. There's a lot of change going on in that department, and we need both of us keeping an eye on it. Thank you.
Are there any more speakers? Okay, Councillor John Clark.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Sam, for your comments. And we were discussing this the other day with the Chief Executive. We are going to bring a report. Whether there'll only be one, as I can see in the foreseeable future now. There'll only be one person. It'll be one of the advisors. And that again, it's similar time doing Michael's finance at the moment. It's trying to help the finances out of the council. I don't get paid the extra money for it. And so therefore we'll be seriously looking at it, and that review will be forthcoming in the autumn or sometime like that. September, Cabinet. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Clark. So we'll move to the vote then, please. All those in favour, please show. Anyone against? And any abstentions? Once again, that's carried. We'll now move on to item 14, comments under procedural rule 7.11. There are 11 sets of minutes on this agenda. If any member would like to ask a question or make a comment about any of the minutes, would you please indicate to the page number that you are speaking about? The first minute A to F, any comments or questions? No? The next sets of minutes, G to K, any comments or questions? Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's just really probably a personal comment about JCS, the committee I'm on. The last one was on Friday, the 11th of July at 5:30. Now, there's a lot of excellent staff who help at this committee before it and on the night, and I just felt it was unfair on them. They work really hard all week to expect them still to be here at 5:30 on a Friday. And I just think we've got 4 other days when we can all do committees. And normally it's on a Tuesday, so I don't know why it was on a Friday. And I just felt that I'm thinking of the staff who are excellent, and I think it was unfair on them. Thank you.
Thank you. Them comments will be fed back and I'm sure taken on board. Any other comments? Thank you. I'll move on to the next item then. Item 15, motions under procedural rule 7.12. Mike?
There are none, Mr. Mayor.
Phew. Thank you to everyone for attending the meeting. This is the final item, so I now close the meeting. And if any members would like to join me for refreshments in the Mayor's Parlour, you're more than welcome. Thank you.
Members of the Council and members of the public, please be upstanding for the Worshipful the Mayor of Gedling.